Welcome back. So in this video, we're going to create this custom collection view cell, as well as adding this scroll view to our collection view. So if you guys have been following along, the project will be listed below. And this is actually what the finished project is. Right now, what your project should probably look like is more, let's stop that. Okay, so this is what your project should look like now. We have the navigation header, and we have the tab bar, and we have this collection view right here in the middle. Alright, so the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to actually create that cell. So let's start there. I'm going to go File, New, File. I'm going to do a Cocoa Touch class, and I'm going to name this my album preview cell, and it's just going to be a subclass collection UI collection view cell. I'm also going to create a nib, so I'm just going to check this button here and hit next. This way we can actually design our cell in the storyboard. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into our cell. So I'm just going to jump into here. So here's just this blank cell, and I'm just going to stretch this out a little bit just to get some size to play with. So I'm going to say 375 by 160. Seems good. Alright, so now I'm going to just plop in a scroll view. So just type here scroll view, and I'm going to pop that in, and as you see, it's just going to shrink down the size. I'm going to line it up with the corners and just stretch it all the way out. Okay, and then I'm just going to set this to stretch and stick in this corner, so an auto resizing. Next thing I'm going to need is a page controller, and this is basically the little dots at the bottom that's going to indicate where we are. I'm going to do the same thing for this. Bind that to the bottom. It's not looking quite like ours, so I'm just going to make this black so we can see everything. Alright, so as you see here, we have our scroll view and we have our page controller down here. Now what we want to do is we want to connect these to our class. So I'm just going to select the two little circles, the assistant editor. Make sure you change this from manual to automatic. Alright, so this is my class that's going to control my cell, and what I want to do is I just want to drag my collection view in here, so they're actually side by side. So what I could do is just drag this from here, drop it in there. This is my scroll view. I'm going to call this my album scroll view. Select connect, and I'm going to do the same thing, and I probably have to get rid of that. Just zoom this out a little bit. Alright, pop this back. Alright, so select my page controller here and drag that as well. I'm just gonna call this page, not age, page control. Alright, so now I have access to this. I don't need to do anything else here. What I do need to do though is I need to go ahead in our section controller, and let me just close some of this stuff up. So I need to actually set this section controller up so that way it displays. So the first thing I'm going to want to do I want to let section controller. We're also going to need to be able to control our scroll view. So I'm going to just go ahead and set that up now. So UIScrollView delegate scroll before I forget. Alright, so that way I don't have to mess with that later or get tripped up later. The first thing we're going to need to do is create some just some dummy data, I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to plop it here. So here I just created an array of albums. I'm actually going to duplicate these just so that it actually scrolls. We'll be doing, let's see, yeah, we'll be doing 2 album previews per screen, and this is basically just going to be the same thing over and over again. I also want to get access or create a page control that I can control here. So I'm going to say file or var page control. It's a UI page control. Alright, so there's a couple of things that we'll need to implement. As you see, this is now looking good for us, but we'll need to implement a few things in order to get this set up. The first thing is I want to get the size of the collection cell. So I'm going to say override function size for item at, and it's going to return a CG size. And the CG size is going to be our collection context container size width, so the entire width of our container, and then a height of 160. And we can actually go in and put, since we know we want it to be the whole frame size, you could do that. I may rethink doing this, so I believe it's divided by 2, and that may be a little bit much. So really what I want it to be is just the frame, so our bounding frame box, right? So that's basically as wide as the screen, and then the height actually won't be divided by 2. Let's just keep it like that. The next thing I'm going to want to do is, well, I'm going to want to do the override cell for item at, or say function cell for item at. Let me see, function cell for item at. I'm going to want to override this function, and I'll come back to that, but we'll be creating a cell just like a normal collection view. I'm just going to say guard, do a guard let cell equal collection context if we have one, and then we want to dequeue a reusable cell, and then we are actually using a nib file, so I'm just going to select that. Our nib file, our name is, let's go back here. Actually, I'm just going to copy this. I'm just going to paste this name here as well as our identifier. Alright, so I'm just going to hop back into my section controller, and with the nib name is looking for a string, so I'm going to just provide the name of the cell, right? So this is our collection view cell. Pretty long name. I'm not going to return a bundle, and our section controller will be, or our controller of this class is going to be our cell class. So we have that here. So I'm just going to, you don't have to copy and paste this, but I'm already here. So, and let me just widen this out a little bit. Well, I guess we can see it. All right, so I'm just going to exchange this for that. Else, we're going to use the index. So this index that's given here, we're going to use that for when we say this item at whatever index this is given us. We're going to set it up like that. Else, let's do a fatal error. You can catch this in other ways if you want to, but for now let's just do that. Okay, so now it's actually, what is it asking me? Convert, can I? Okay, so let's do, actually 4. This is wrong, so don't do this. For self, this collection view, so it's asking us for the collection view here, and I put the class of the cell. We don't want to do that. We want to say as that class though, so this is what it should look like. And then let's say return the cell, because it's looking for us to return. And let's see if it's complaining about anything else. Okay, so that gets rid of that, but we still haven't actually done the configuration for the cell yet. But let's just go ahead and take care of our scroll view really fast. Alright, so we basically are controlling what page number we're on, or which page is indicated that we're on. And last but not least, I'm just going to add an override function for IGListKit. I'm not going to fill this in right now, but let's go back and actually fill in the items, set up the cell actually. So what I'm going to do is here in our cell for item app, where we're actually, and I'll just, yeah, this is good. Cell for item app, what we want to do here is we want to go ahead and configure our cell. So what does the cell look like? So the first thing is we want to tell the album page controller how many pages we have, right? So what I'm going to do is say our cell dot album page control dot number of pages will equal how many items we have in the array, and we want them to a page, so it's going to be albums array dot count divided by 2. Alright, and then we're just going to set our page control that we have here in this class, and we're just going to say it's equal to the cell dot page control, and that's from the actual class. I'm basically creating a reference for it here. Now I'm going to say cell dot album scroll view, like I said, is delegate, and it's going to be this class is going to control it, and then the cell dot album scroll view paging enable equals true. Alright, so the next set of items I'm just going to copy and paste here just to save time. Alright, so this is basically, I'm trying to get the height of the cells in order to place these images. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, getting the height of the scroll view, and then what I'm doing is I am setting the content size to the array times the number of items. So I have 4 items, so I need to actually make that the number of count, right? Then what I need to do is the height, of course, is the height that I have here. Now if we come down here, I'm basically not allowing a scroll indicator vertically or horizontally, and I'm turning the bounce off. So that's about it. So now the good part is where we actually fill in the scroll view with data. So for I in 0 to the number of items in album array. So I'm basically now just going to loop through the array and create an image view, populate the image view, and then set the cell. So let's go ahead and do that really fast. Alright, so here we have, I created the image view, a UI image view. I placed the image from our array into that image. I set our content mode to be aspect fit. Then I added that view to our scroll view. The image, I set the image frame size to be half of that, so we can have that 2-up effect that we want. I created an X value in order to figure out where to place the next image. So the first image will be at 0, 0. The next image will be at 0. Well, it'll be at whatever value, right? The width of the cell view, right, divided by 2. So basically the next item over. I did a horrible job just explaining that, but yeah, so basically this is just saying, okay, our next frame, where is going to be positioned. We're getting the X value by getting the frame size and then multiplying it by the item in the array. So 0 is going to be 0. The next one is going to be the width. So width times 1 is going to be the width. So that's going to just place them next to each other. And then here I have the cell.item UIScrollView.content size. So this is basically the entire view for the control scroll view. Okay, so this is basically the size, right? So then we're going to just basically place them right next to each other, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, so now that we've done all that, we just need to go ahead and display this data. So I'm just going to go back to our view controller. And right now we don't have any data, and so we won't actually see anything. But if I put like a 1 here, it's going to automatically return this album preview section controller. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. Oh, well, okay, we got an error because we actually haven't added any of these pictures that I just put here. So let's go ahead and do that. I will provide these pictures for you guys in the link below. Actually, I have them, but they're just named something else. So maybe if I change them to album display, I think it's underscore display. And then album underscore display 2. Okay, so I have to remember to provide these images to you guys. I didn't even mention that I dragged these into my assets, and then I expected them to just pop up. So I will provide these to you guys so that doesn't happen to you. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and play this again. Alright, so here we have our 2 little items up here. One of the things is that I do notice is that our buttons aren't the right color. So let's go ahead and just jump back into our cell really fast and update that. So I'm just going to select this. And I'm going to say our current page color is going to be, let's create some, like that looks good, like that. Okay, so that should fix that. Another thing is, all right. So if I switch it here, yep, we look good to go. Alright, so in our next video, guys, we'll be working on creating some of the other custom cells and displaying them in the same way. So I will see you guys next time. Remember, if you have any questions, comment below. I will provide this code to you guys, also in the description below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.